Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is for entertainment purpose only. This is the case of Nicola Jane Bulley. This is the part 2 of what I was discussing. And basically, what I'm trying to do is summarize the case and mention the red flags that I feel are necessary, that we all have pointed it out, although some of them may sound, and not even sound, some of them are repetition, but the repetitions have to be mentioned so that we get closer to find out the truth about what happened to Nicola Bulley. To be open-minded is very important. To have critical thinking is absolutely important. And if we follow both of them, if we use our critical thinking, there's no facts here. There's no evidence to prove that Nicola was even near the bench area. So, I don't understand, I won't say I understand. Yeah, I don't understand how the police could be very satisfied with the theory and the decision they made. I'm sure they have other evidence that we don't have to back up their theory, but something isn't right here. Because now it is not only about the police, forget the public, it's about the police divers, the police detectives, the superintendent, the senior superintendent, and all the roles that the police play in it, the SGI team, the excellent Peter Folding and his team, all of these people with knowledge and experience have come for free to help in the Nicola Bulley case. So we have to give each theory enough pressure and time to see where it leads us. I think things was done very quickly. I'm not a police officer. I don't have the skills the police have. I'm a mental health counselor, nothing to do with the police, but we all do have something a bit to do with each other. Because as a CBT therapist, we do a lot of case studies. We study the person's profile to help them in the mental health. And when you look and we observe people's behaviors and such things, so I'm not saying I'm an expert or I'm an expert in criminology. No, not at all. But when I see certain behaviors in these interviews, mental health has helped me. CBT especially, not only mental health, because there's different kind of mental health counselors, there's different kind of psychologists, but I love CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, because you are too occupied with listening to the clients' stories, complaints, everything. And then we are supposed to be focused and do active listening training. But at the same time, it's not just sit and listen to a person. As a counselor, that's not what you do. You're supposed to take notes, but then you're supposed to observe the background. So when I see, for example, certain things that are not right, obviously, my first question is, where's the facts to prove up that theory? And that is what everybody's doing in the world in the Nicola Bulley case. But I'm not saying that this is a conspiracy, that this is a decoy conspiracy, like that the police are rented on. Absolutely not. Nicola Bulley is a real person. Let's get that straight. There is pain, there's tears, and there's heartache. That is a real 45-year-old woman. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't believe Nicola fell in the river. This is something that happens often in true crime. I believe there's a third-party involvement. The reason I say that is, coincidentally, so many camera footages were tampered with. Whether it was the main CCTV one, whether it was Robin Waters. So I have a couple of questions that I would love to ask if the police like. I love to ask in inquests, and what most of the all of them actually from a subscriber, and I have my own questions too, and from other subscribers, too many subscribers, especially one specific subscriber that after time, because the person uses the intelligence in this case, and they ask tough questions. So let me see if I can. I don't have my notes in front of me, but number one, Nicola Bulley, his father, said he saw her last on Thursday night. The question is, when did he see her last? What time was that? I remember him saying that her mood. So that is one important question. Her father said that he saw on Thursday. I even heard the grandparents babysat the children for a couple of hours in NICOLA'S house. The second question is actually from me. That was from a subscriber. The second question is, how long did the parents look after their grandchildren, and when did Nicola come home, and what was her mood like when she came home? The next question from the subscribers list was if the police was it ANCP checks with their vehicles or ANPR checks, I think, one of them. Like when they check the vehicles, like, they have those, they can flash a suspicious vehicle or anything down. So if they have their own checks of if there were any vehicles that were not supposed to should be seen there, that's APNR check, I just remembered. So the vehicle check was one of the questions, which I think is a very important question. There was many other questions. I remember them along the way because this case is just full of questions and no answers. Yeah, another question that was asked is, why wasn't the cameras in Rowan Waters working? And the person asked this a follow-up question, who is in charge of running the cameras in Rowan Waters? I believe the person in charge of running the cameras near the fields, not the camera, but who's in charge of the lock of the door, is Penny. I'm sure Penny is in charge of her camera system in the caravan park. So Penny, why isn't, or should I ask the police more like, why wasn't the caravan park cameras, behind the caravan park cameras working? That was ITV News who told us. So I guess you all can answer that. But I guess the answer that's going to come is obviously Sky News and ITV News. The family even told them to mind their own business because they spoiled their case. Typical. Notice it's like children blaming it on each other. The sad thing about this case, I believe, is Nicola Bulley's justice went down like this, is going down like this, is because, I hate to say this, but this is the truth. Everyone who was in the case, whether it is the police or whether it's Peter Folding, everyone was there for some purpose. And I think people's egos got carried away. People forgot about the main thing, that there's actually, they do care. I'm sure Peter Folding cares about Nicola Bulley because he was searching for free for so many hours, he and his team. May God bless them. And I'm sure the police really care for solving Nicola Bulley's crime. That is their place, their people. I really believe they do. So I'm not saying they don't care, but I'm just saying they did not put much pressure to finding out what happened to this poor woman. And I believe the police went wrong in one thing. They listened to Mr. Paul Ansel. Paul Ansel said, that's it. Nicola fell in the river. She had drinking problems. She had, menopause issues. So that's that. And guess what, please? As Paul, I've decided to give you that information 3 weeks later. So take it however you feel. That is what happened, and I think that should automatically open an investigation against Paul. I see a person over here who has absolutely, I don't know how to say this. Notice every picture of Paul, every picture you see. He has that same expression, that same eye, flat face expression. I don't think he can control that. You didn't show any. It wouldn't be. Let me be mindful and choose the words properly. He didn't show much motivation in searching for the partner of his life. He didn't show much care for Nicola because he was given that chance by Channel 5 in his interview to speak about Nicola. Dan told him, "We don't know Nicola like you know. Tell us about Nicola." That's the time I personally believe he should have been pouring out his heart. Saying, "Nikki, baby, where are you? Come home. We can solve anything. The kids need you. I need you. We all love you. Come home. What is it that's bothering you? Do not worry. Everything is cool. Let's work this out." And not only by saying it, by actually being in the scene doing it. No actions from Paul. Which is very concerning. Very concerning. For him to say that, yeah, somebody said that Paul has to be checked as the partner, and I said, yes, do that. Why would you mention that? Why would you mention that? Everyone knows that the partner is checked. Everyone watches movies, even if you don't follow true crime. So why would he find it necessary to say that? He was so full of anxiety in that interview. He was so anxious. He kept on rubbing his palm on his thigh to self-soothe himself, kind of. He kept on shaking his leg. His breathing was from everywhere. He was using each and every place he could to breathe. His nose, his mouth. You could see his breathing techniques from his stomach. His eyes were rolling everywhere. You know, like when, I hate to say this, but this is my opinion, guys, and it's for entertainment purpose only. You know, when kids are caught, example, say, robbing a candy or something, and you catch them red-handed and you say, "I saw you, don't lie, did you do that?" And they start turning around like, no, it wasn't, it was her, she started first and I started doing that later on. That's exactly how Paul looks like in every interview. And he keeps on looking at the reporter to see, like, did he bite? Is he following what I'm saying? This is just my thoughts, but that is not conspiracy. That is clear to see. That is facts. That is evidence. If anyone in this world thought that Paul was a grieving father and he said all these things in the interview out of shock, then I respect you all for your opinion. That's all I'll say. But I would say you need to look a bit closer. Because that even a kid could see something's not right. And then the action spoke for it. He didn't go search for Nicola. The other question for my subscriber was, when Nicola sent that email to her boss, what was the details of the email? Did she tell the boss maybe that she saw someone strange there? What was the conversation about? Because it could have been a conversation that upset her. It could have been a conversation that can give us clues whether it's work related or not. So I think that was an excellent question you asked. Now my question is, which I've asked a million times, and that is my first red flag. Emma White, why did you conduct all the interviews? For the parents? For Paul? You must be either a very excellent friend, which I'm in doubt about that. Because people just don't go for a walk and then disappear. You said she was in a work meeting and she disappeared. How did you disappear from a work meeting? Louise, how come you and Paul are saying exactly the same words? Same script. That I put on my clip, I think, a week after Nicola went missing. I try not to touch on the family because I can see certain wrongs, but not from the parents. But I don't want to be interfering with a grieving family. But just because people are grieving, it doesn't mean that they can't be asked further, and the police should have been checking. How come these scripts sound so much alike? Not even allegedly. How come they sound alike? And I'm talking about 3 players, 3 people who are using the same script. When I say there's a cover-up going on, I don't believe the police is in the cover-up. Let's get that clear. I mean the people around Nicola. There's a third-party involvement. They're selling the stories. They are maneuvering the narratives, the timelines, the locations. They put the mobile as a decoy. And guess what? That wasn't only my words. The decoy was said by Paul Ansel. Isn't it Paul? Wasn't it you? Yes, Paul Ansel said that in his interview, and so did Peter Foley. So yes, it's a decoy. All of a sudden the mobile's in the bench. Give me one proof, Lancashire police. Show me a CCTV footage of Nicola that day. And I promise, I won't make one more clip about Nicola Bulley. How about that? But that ain't happening because there's doubts about Nicola being there. How could they know if Nicola was there if the CCTV footage wasn't working from the school to the river top part? How would they know that? Are they going to say we were following our mobile? No, they couldn't have, because the mobile, they just detected it in the fields, not outside. If they could do that, I guess, we wouldn't all have been having this conversation on social media. I believe the police do not have any theories, they don't have any facts. They were just given a load of crap from Emma White, from Paul Ansel, calling them out, allegedly. Because of course, Emma, the reason I say your name is because you and Heather, what's her name, Heather Gibson, were organizing the searches. So explain to me, Emma and Heather Gibson, Emma White, why did it change from 9:15, the river tow part, to 9:33? Why did you correct the police and say, no, the first time running was right, the second time running is a lie? Why is Ron acting all stressed up? Ron was asked a simple question by Mr. Rashid, the reporter. He was asked, what time was this? Automatically he was like, I don't have the timing. I gave my statements to the police. My wife has a mobile. The timing was on her watch. And then later on he forgets, within 2 seconds, the next question, he turns around and says, yeah, later on things progress. Penny called my wife and my wife called me. How did your wife call you? You're going on walks with the dogs and all. Tension was happening. Your dog called you. Your wife called you while you're walking with your dog. She must have called you after the dog walk, or she must have called you while you're at home. She must have called you on your mobile device. So if you don't know what the timing was, something looked really wrong with that. Because you weren't supposed to be caught by Sky News. You just ran into them coincidentally. The other question from the subscriber was the scene, the forensic scene in what's called Ski Pool car park. Lancashire Police, could you kindly answer us if that was related to Nicola Bulley's case. And I've asked that question plenty of times too, because that place is not far from Nicola's mother and father's house. Which was allegedly, wasn't it said that Nicola was going to meet her boss on Thursday night? What happened Thursday evening? Did something happen there? And I don't believe. Another red flag is the psychic. I heard the psychic said he found that boy, Michael Brooks was his name, but apparently Michael Brooks' mother said that she found him. He didn't find her. He didn't find him, so he's a liar. He's lying about something. Plus he has a criminal record, allegedly. It was said a dog walker, the psychic was. He had no dog. The only thing I don't have evidence, and I'm trying to look into, is how the psychic Paul, and what's his name, Curtis Media, and the camera guy that Curtis was talking to, that guy needs to be checked too. He could definitely be involved, because everything he can see from his house, he must have seen. Curtis didn't clock on. He saw Curtis filming Penny's house, his mother's house, or Penny's house. That's the reason he was already waiting to approach him. So the question is, has he been spying on Nicola allegedly from there? Could that be? What happened? And I'm wondering if that man knows Emma and if he knows Paul. He lives in such a convenient location, right near the river Towpath. Something happened on the 10th of January. And whatever happened on the 10th of January is what led to this possible decoy. And I don't mean decoy with police and government and all involved. Obviously not. I mean decoy by Nicola's friends and partner allegedly. Allegedly. Because at the start, I believe you go with your facts, with your evidence, you go with the critical thinking. And when it's been a couple of months and you have literally gathered so much researches and evidence that you know in a way who it points out to, not only a partner. There are many players involved, believe me. I just wonder what they're going to say in the inquiry. If they're going to say this was an accident, if they're going to say Nicola became foggy and she fell in the river, and we are going to fix our part as the police. We're going to do more courses for vulnerable victims, how to deal with them. Believe me, something like that is coming up. One day they're going to talk about what they're going to improve and do better, and one day they're going to talk about Nicola's fake timelining that they already have been building for 6 months. Let's be honest. I'd be surprised if arrests are made. Arrests can't be made because if they make arrests, that means it's about ownership. They have to own up that they messed up the whole case. They have to own up that they messed up the 10th of January. They have to own up that they messed up on the 27th of January. They have to own up that they messed up for the 23 days Nicola was missing. Do you see that coming up? I don't see ownership with Lancashire Police. To be honest, I don't see that, and I don't see that coming. But I really pray, hope, that's all we can do. But everything points out for me directly as foul play, huge red flags. Paul Ansel, if you're watching, your whole interview is a walking red flag. You could have added a bit more emotions with that. And I believe it's a foul play. The question is the motive. The motive is definitely money, maybe jealousy, or maybe Nicola decided that it was enough. She wanted to move on with her children and stay single. Become single, whatever. Nicola must have had it. Because you can imagine being the person in the family who's the main family provider and all these things. And maybe who knows what private problems they had. Because whatever problems they had went to the roof and hit the ceiling on the 10th of January. And the police, I believe, know that whatever happened on the 10th of January led to Nicola's death. Let's be honest. They could have done something to have prevented. Maybe Nicola was supposed to be monitored. She wasn't supposed to go out and she went out, and that's what happened. Because they were so quick on saying, she fell in the river, that's it. No discussions. So I wonder what that is about. The other question was very simple. The CCTV footages. The subscribers was for asking this, and I asked in each and every clip. The CCTV footage. How did Gisela K get implied into all this? How did she get herself into this entanglement of CCTV footage with Paul and his male friend? And I hear a word around town is Paul, his male friend, is a professional in dash cams and CCTV footage. That would explain why these footages were so edited. But I hope we get to find out the truth. Because I don't believe Nicola Bulley would have unlived herself or done anything to herself near her children's school. No. She loved her children. She had more to live for than to leave. Somebody knew where Nicola was. All those houses should be checked that are facing the river or that can see people passing near the areas. It's a small town. Just like Paul said, someone has to know something. Anyway, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Take care.